because we know he wants to go up straight away and fight Islam. Islam hasn't been too keen on that idea because he's given other guys a chance before. He wants to become a two-weight division champion. And then, of course, there's the number 2 ranked Charles do Bronx Oliveira, the man with the most finishes, the most bonuses, the most submissions, the most exciting fighter in all the bloody division, right? Sign me up, take my money, we'd all want to see that fight.
Charles Oliveira has issued a strong warning to Ilia Topuria, making it clear that lightweight is a whole different challenge. He's confident that if they fight, he has the skills to either knock Topuria out or submit him.
A lot of fighters, whenever they get a belt and they wrap that, they have that belt wrapped around their waist, they start thinking up and down in the divisions, and you want to challenge things, but I think you have to be very careful.
Charles Oliveira has given Ilia Topuria a stern message as the rising star prepares to debut in the lightweight division. Oliveira, a former UFC lightweight champion, knows firsthand the challenges of moving between weight classes. Having competed at 155 pounds for years, he warned Topuria that stepping up from featherweight is an entirely different experience.
How do you see the chances for Ilia in terms of becoming a champion in lightweight, maybe fighting Islam Makhachev, and do you see someday you yourself fighting Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title?
Cara, o Ilia Topuria cara que duríssimo, cara que fala e fala.
Ilia is a tough fighter, someone who talks the talk and walks the walk. He's doing things, and I can see why he would want to challenge people, and I think a lot of people, he would be obviously a tough fight, and I think that what happens is a lot of fighters, whenever they get a belt and they wrap that, they have that belt wrapped around their waist, they start thinking up and down in the divisions, and you want to challenge things, but I think you have to be very careful when you're coming up to lightweight, because this is tough. This is a very tough division. But at any rate, I think he's a very tough and very dangerous guy.
Topuria may have only fought once at lightweight, but his rapid rise in the UFC has created significant buzz, with many considering him a title contender. However, Oliveira, who is also aiming for another shot at the belt, cautioned that lightweight is one of the toughest divisions in MMA. He believes Topuria might be in for a harsh reality check. Known for his knockout power and elite Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Oliveira stated that he's not only confident he could submit Topuria, but he also believes he has the power to knock him out. Oliveira said, "Whoever the UFC tells me to fight, I'll fight. I respect Ilia Topuria, but this is lightweight, the toughest division in the sport. I have knockout power, I trust my jiu-jitsu, and I believe I can knock Ilia Topuria out." Topuria, who recently vacated his featherweight title, has made it clear that he wants a shot at the lightweight championship. However, current lightweight champion Islam Makhachev isn't convinced he deserves an immediate title fight. Makhachev, who has already beaten former featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski twice, seems reluctant to face another 145-pound fighter before they prove themselves at 155 pounds.
Do you have a message for him? He really wants to fight you next year.
No, man. I'm tired to give chance the small guys, you know. I need my second belt, you know. It's nothing excited. He's a good fighter, he's a good skills fighter, but I don't want to give him chance, you know. I need second belt. They fight for what? For me, it's nothing. Just his name. I don't need his name. I need the belt.
Moving up to 155, potentially fighting Islam Makhachev.
This is something that I want to do, is to move up to the 155, because I know by fact that I can become a two-weight world champion. Because Islam, he's a great fighter. He's the #1 pound for pound. For me, I'm the best fighter in the world. So I know that I can do with him whatever I want to do, because I know that I'm much better than him. As I always say, I represent the new generation of mixed martial.
And adding to the drama, Topuria has boldly accused Makhachev of being afraid to fight him, sparking debate among MMA analysts. Chael Sonnen quickly dismissed Topuria's claim, calling it baseless. "My first reaction? That's fake news. It's an insult to Islam. I don't believe for a second that he's scared of anyone. He's already proven that by taking short-notice fights with no training camp. He just steps in and does what needs to be done. The idea that he's avoiding Topuria is nonsense," Sonnen said. Even though Makhachev isn't keen on fighting another featherweight, former UFC champion Daniel Cormier weighed in, pointing out that taking this fight could hurt Makhachev's legacy. If he beats Topuria, critics might argue that he's only defeating smaller opponents rather than facing true lightweights. Cormier expressed concern that Makhachev's dominance could be questioned if he doesn't fight a top lightweight next.
For Makhachev, he goes and beats Ilia Topuria, right? People will say he beat Volk, he beat Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, Renato Moicano. Seems pretty good. That's 5 title fight wins. But in that, it would say, well, he's defended the belt 3 times against featherweights. Because at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter what you do or in high regard you hold someone. The fact that he was the champion in the lower weight class is what's going to be pointed to the moment Islam beats him. Because anytime you have a dominant champ, anytime, you look for reasons to discredit them. Happens all the time.
Michael Bisping sees things differently. While he understands Makhachev's reluctance, he believes this fight makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint. According to Bisping, a bout between Makhachev and Topuria could be one of the biggest UFC events in history. Both fighters are extremely popular, and the storyline of a rising featherweight challenging the dominant lightweight champion would be hard to resist. He thinks the UFC might not be able to pass up on the massive fan interest and potential pay-per-view sales.
I think Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria, because any of those guys, Arman, Charles, Justin, sure, they'd all be phenomenal fights, and they'd all have a realistic chance of potentially beating Ilia Topuria. Granted, Ilia is special. I'm not saying that he's not. But if he lost to them, there's a massive market opportunity lost there, because Ilia versus Islam, Ilia with the rise, Ilia still being in a lot of people's minds the featherweight champion against the lightweight champion, there's something there. And yeah, if he loses to Gaethje but then 2-3 fights later gets a shot, it's not quite the same sell.
However, Bisping also acknowledges the risks. If Topuria loses, it could damage his hype and slow down his momentum. But if he wins, it would solidify him as one of the best fighters in the world and establish him as a serious force in the lightweight division. I think Islam will take the fight eventually. Topuria wants to be a 2-division champion, but he'll have to wait because Belal Muhammad is in the mix too. In the meantime, Islam can take out Topuria, which would be a blockbuster fight, Bisping said. This situation highlights the challenges Dana White faces in booking top contenders. Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan, and Charles Oliveira are all waiting for their shot at Makhachev. Gaethje has been vocal about wanting a title fight but is also content enjoying his career's financial rewards. Meanwhile, Tsarukyan and Oliveira are both eager for a rematch with Makhachev, believing they deserve the next opportunity. Fast-tracking Topuria to a title shot could frustrate these established contenders who have been waiting for their chance.
Here's what I would suggest, and I'm not a matchmaker. Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Yes, book it. Gaethje versus Tsarukyan. Book it. Whoever wins fights Makhachev. That's it right there. That's it. Topuria gets the shot. Tsarukyan, Gaethje, winner gets the title fight. We're back to line at 155. Oliveira, go down to New Orleans, fight Dustin Poirier. If you win again, you're next after that guy. There it is. That's it. Oliveira fits the bill. Oliveira is a former champion, a big name. He could be the type of guy Poirier would want to fight in his retirement fight.
Many fighters and analysts have shared their thoughts on Topuria's move to lightweight. Justin Gaethje believes Topuria is well suited for 155 pounds, especially after his dominant wins over Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. He thinks the extra weight could enhance Topuria's aggressive style and well-rounded skills, making him a dangerous addition to the division. However, when asked if Topuria should get an immediate title shot, Gaethje remained non-committal.
And I just wanted your thoughts on Ilia Topuria vacating the featherweight title and coming up to lightweight. Do you think he's built for lightweight?
Yeah, I think he's a fighter, especially with the confidence that he has right now with those wins over Max and Volkanovski. I think, confidence is the biggest factor when you step in there. You have to believe, in yourself first and foremost. And so, yeah, I think just made the most exciting weight class in this sport a little bit more exciting.
Do you obviously, if you go out there and finish physique, there's a good chance that you get the title shot, but do you believe Ilia should get an automatic title shot against Islam?
I don't know. Haven't thought about it.
Awesome.
It doesn't matter. Again, that's one of the things I can't control, so I'm not going to put a lot of thought and energy into that.
Not everyone is convinced that Topuria deserves a fast track to the title. Paddy Pimblett has been one of his loudest critics, accusing him of moving up in weight to avoid tougher featherweight challengers. I don't get it. He's small, like 5'5" or 5'6". Why move up? And then he calls me fat when he says he can't make 145 anymore? It doesn't make sense. Honestly, I think he ran from featherweight," Pimlet said. Similarly, Michael Chandler questions whether Topuria is ready for lightweight competition, suggesting his move was more about weight-cutting struggles than a real desire to test himself in a tougher division. Matt Brown also disagrees with an immediate title shot for Topuria. He believes Makhachev should be fighting established lightweights, not another former featherweight, especially after already beating Volkanovski twice. Topuria has earned the right to fight in any division, but let him prove himself at lightweight first. Get a big win before challenging Islam, Brown stated. Bilal Mohammed, a close teammate of Makhachev, thinks the hype around Topuria is fueled by fans eager to see the champion lose. He argues that Topuria still needs to prove himself by beating a top lightweight like Oliveira or Dustin Poirier before getting a title shot.
Ilia Topuria fighting Islam Makhachev, or should Ilia just fight Volk again?
I feel like Ilia deserves that, but it takes two to tangle, and I don't feel like these Dagestanis, bro. Even though they say anytime, anywhere, it's like Islam wants to make sure that Ilia deserves it. He wants him to go through the number one contender, as we talked about before. But if I had my choice, of course, Ilia fight Islam Makhachev. Do I believe Ilia could beat Islam? No.
On the other hand, Beneil Dariush fully supports Topuria's transition to lightweight and believes he has earned a title shot. He became champion, defended his belt, and now says he's too big for 145. I get it, and since the UFC isn't giving Tsarukyan the title fight, Topuria makes sense. He's on a big win streak, so I wouldn't call it a mistake, Dariush said. Aljamain Sterling has also analyzed the matchup. While he acknowledges Makhachev's grappling advantage, he believes Topuria's speed, striking, and leg kicks could pose real problems for the champion.
He is not the featherweight champ because the dude is so confident in himself that he vacated the belt to come up to 155. I mean, that's a pretty ballsy move, right? Conventional wisdom says, hang on to the belt, go up, try your hand at 155, and then come back down. So that in and of itself is spectacular. So we'll see, man. He thinks he's going to do well at 155. Obviously, that's a fight that I would love to have. We'll see how it all shakes out. Who he fights first in the division. Does he fight Islam for the title? Does Islam go up? There's rumors of that going on. There's a lot of stuff happening at this 45, 55, 170. I think three of the most exciting divisions in the UFC, 155 being the most exciting division.
Robert Whitaker agrees, saying people still underestimate how well-rounded Topuria is. Ilia is technically so advanced in jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and striking. If people don't see that, they're missing out, Whitaker stated. Volkanovski, who has fought both men, warns that relying on knockout power alone won't be enough to beat Makhachev. He believes Topuria must prove he has a complete skill set to truly challenge the lightweight champion.
What are your thoughts on Ilia coming up and how lightweight looks with Islam kind of teasing or maybe moving up at some point?
Everybody's calling for Ilia. Then you look at the comments and all of them are like, well, he's only fought in featherweights. And then he goes out there and he beats Ilia. And
he's also scared of Ilia, according to those same people.
Exactly, right? And then he's going to go out there and go, oh, well, we told you that Ilia was too small. And Ilia could always go back down and say, oh, well, yeah, it wasn't good enough for me. But for Islam, for him to keep building his legacy, people are going to, they want to just see them lose, right? They want to see that team lose. And then you saw it with like Umar. It was such a good fight, such a close fight, but everybody's acting like he got killed because they just want to see that team lose. People hate greatness. People hate success, and they'd rather see you fail. But for Islam, they don't really care about that. They don't hear that noise. I think if Ilia goes out there and he fights like a Charles or even a DDP and he gets the win, there's no denying him, right? You have to get the title shot.
Dominic Cruz thinks Topuria's best chance is to control the distance and keep Makhachev on the back foot. If he stuffs takedowns and keeps it standing, he has a real shot, Cruz said. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe for more UFC updates.